Recently, I had an opportunity to interview two celebrities that were in town doing love letters, Betsy Palmer and Will Hutchins. They performed at the Opera House, and then they also came to the Film Society, where I had an opportunity to interview them about people they worked with in Old Hollywood. Henry Fonda.
Henry Fonda, a very silent man, a very quiet man, yeah.
Unlike me.
But I enjoyed, unlike you know, you what there?
You worked with him in?
I worked with him in Mr. Roberts, and then I worked also with him in the Tin Star after that. Actually, Mr. Ford never finished Mr. Roberts. They brought in, Mervyn LeRoy. But Henry, I guess, and Mr. Ford had a get-to with one another. What happened is that when Mr. Ford was working, he didn't drink. But if we were in Hawaii, and he was there with all of his old Hawaiian friends, and he brought the yacht over, and down the Beachcomber was closed, and I think he just started to celebrate. And he and Henry got into fisticuffs one day, and that was the end of Ford being on the film.
Well, we were old buddies. We were unemployed actors, pardon the redundancy. We used to hang out at a place called Madame Poopy's on the Sunset Strip, pardon the redundancy. And that was a great hangout for all of us guys. And one day he got mad at the waitress. She did something, and he just cleared the table like that. Well, later his friend Carol Eastman used that scene in 5 Easy Pieces. And we were buddies. We were good pals.
Oh, Jimmy. We called him Jimmy in those days. Now if you say Jimmy Dean, it's the pork sausage fellow, I guess. But we always called him. And I worked with him. We did a Studio One together and a Danger together and a half-hour dramatic show. And we were both from Indiana, just kind of got together. I cooked well. I had food, he didn't. I had an apartment. He finally did have one. We dated and were together, you know, dating. I don't know, about 9 months.
Well, along with Betsy, the two most enjoyable people I've worked with, I've never come close to reading anything that captured his essence, because he had so many levels. I mean, you think of him as the king. We've seen these documentaries when he went on the concert tour, when he was putting on a lot of weight. But geez, he was still a magnificent performer, and he had to have bodyguards, hundreds of bodyguards to get out of the. Elvis is out of the. You know, he had that. Then he was the big movie star, you know, and then he was Elvis, the real human being, and he was like a host, because making his movies was like one big party, and he was the host, making sure everybody was having a great time. And he was just such a sensitive, thoughtful guy, and I don't think the publicity really comes close to. He had all these problems because he brought them on himself, I guess, by letting too many other people come into his life and taking a chunk out of him, because he could have done it all himself. I remember Pruitt in what's that? From Here to Eternity. He said, if a man don't go his own way, he's nothing. Well, Elvis was plenty, but he didn't, unfortunately, really go his own way, and that was his tragedy.
Oh, I liked Joan Crawford. She was a good lady. Tough, you know, but we did Queen Bee together. Of course, we showed it the other night. And no, she was I respected her. She respected me. And we stayed friends until the end of her life. Good life. She might have been difficult on those kids, but kids can drive you crazy. And she was right about wire hangers, right, ladies? Don't put your clothes on wire hangers.